Hey everyone, Monarch here, and well, it's been a minute. Not in terms of hearing my voice, I mean, you heard it as recently as the Blasphemous 2 compilation, but it's been a minute since I last did one of these kinds of videos, and that's because a video like this only comes around every once in a while. At this point, it's like once every year, because it is that time of the year where we are done with the previous year, we are entering into the new year, we are in the first week at the moment, and so everybody's thinking back on the year that came before, what they accomplished, all that, and what their plans are for the new one. And I figured that if I'm going to be talking about my plans as well as a recollection over 2023, then I might as well make it its own separate video. So yeah, that's the point of this video. I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on 2023, my goals and accomplishments, what I did, what I'm happy with, what I'm not happy with, as well as what things are looking like going into 2024, all that and more. So I figured a good point to start would be with the recollection of 2023 as a whole. I recall back during the 2022 recollection video I made in March that I laid out the foundation that I wanted to do more, that I wanted to do more editorials, more countdowns, more highlights, and looking back over the year, can I say that I accomplished it? In some ways, yes. In terms of major events, 2023 was composed of a couple of things. First and foremost, it was the wrap-up of the Sunbreak journey. The final 3 highlights came out for it, with Velkhana, Crimson Glow Valstrax, Amatsu, Risen Shigaru, and then Primordial Malzeno at the very end. It's the end of a long road, even longer if you count it as the end of all of 5th gen, and I'll say I am extremely proud of how those videos came out, especially in terms of Primordial Malzeno, Amatsu, and then the moments that came with the Risens, because with the Risens, I was in a little bit of an ultra kill fixation at that point, and so I pulled their music, and not only that, but also pulled from their respective voice lines. It's a little cheesy, but ultimately, I think it adds to a little bit of personality in those videos. I think it works well with syncing up to certain attacks and moments. And I think the thought process was, because I originally didn't even plan on doing that. I was just in the middle of making the Velkhana, or Tile Update 4 highlights, I guess you could call it, and just thinking, wow, Velkhana was fucking trash. Okay, how do I follow that up and try and make this episode a little bit more special? Oh, I know. Put some dramatic spice in it. Do the Sisyphus monologue, do war, and hey, if I'm going to be putting the monologue anyways, let's test and see how the voice lines sound. And so I did that, and then that carried over into the Amatsu, or Tile Update 5 highlights. Those were really good with Gabriel, Risen Shigaru. And also, just, I'm happy I was able to include 3 different themes for Amatsu, with essentially the whole Raiden Shogun battle from Genshin Impact. It certainly helped make the fight and highlight feel special and grandiose. Maybe not as grandiose as Fatalis, because of course nothing's going to match up to Fatalis in a while, but certainly get near that or exude feelings similar to that. So that's a mission accomplished there. And then Primordial Malzeno was just amazing to edit. It was fun to essentially put together and figure out how it goes with the hunts before Ven, and then the send-off with Primordial, with Ludwig, which I wanted to call back to Bloodborne because I was using the Bloodborne main theme for the opening, and was like, this entire time I have not used a single Bloodborne boss theme. I need to deliver on the opening, like how I delivered in AT Velkhana's highlights with that rendition of Blizzard, because I was using another rendition of Blizzard for the opening of a lot of those Iceborne videos. So in a callback similar to that, and to tie it all together, and then ended off that highlight with Alpha the Divine. which was just great, being able to make it that dramatic and special, flashing back to the streams and games before. Those were very special videos, those last two especially, because I was doing something very different with intersplicing monologues in the middle and end of those videos, which is something I do not do outside of typically the beginning of some videos, like with the Blasphemous 2 highlights. So that was very unique, trying to create a story essentially, and I feel I did a good job. And yeah, those highlights, I'm really proud of the effort that I put into them. I think they're some of my best highlights in general. And as for the other videos and projects, I mean, I got out the Fatalis video, which is one of my personal highs, I feel, in terms of that conclusion. I had the 5 wishes for the next Monster Games Generation, which was a massive hit on the channel. And then also put out the Every Infernal Arms ranked worst to best, Hades Countdown, which didn't perform as well, but hey, that's to be expected, because it's not exactly the kind of game I cover on the channel, but I'm still happy with it. Oh yeah, but also the Wild Hearts gameplay, the Sunbreak as a horror game, all that and more. So yeah, it was good in terms of highlights. Of course, there was the disappointment that I wasn't able to do as many countdowns or editorials as I liked. In reality, it was only like 3 videos that year. Everything else was essentially highlights or gameplay, which in hindsight is kind of disappointing, because of course I'd always like to do more and do other things, but I also have to look back and think of the situation that was going on and what my schedule is looking like and what I could accomplish, and considering what I was doing that year, that is a pretty good track record. Even better because I feel 2023 was one of the best years yet in terms of live streaming, and was the first year in a long while where I finally cleared away from Monster Hunter. Of course, yeah, there were the Monster streams with the title updates of Sunbreak, there was the free Ultimate Revisit here on YouTube, but outside of that, a vast majority of the live streams this year was of completely new games, with Lies of P, Wild Hearts, Blasphemous 2, Ultra Kill, and most importantly, Terraria Calamity Mod, which is my longest running live stream series, not counting anything Monster Hunter, on both YouTube and Twitch. Which is incredible to think about, and I'm also happy that I was able to get it all done with, since it is something that I've been thinking about, that's been on the schedule for a long while now with my buddy Raznik, and I'm happy to get that over and done with, and it was a fun time going through that whole mod for the first time with him on stream, and just, I'm extremely happy. Because every year before now, I've always felt a little disappointed in some aspect of how dominated it was by Monster Hunter, how many Monster streams there were, and especially the end-of-year highlights, how so many of the clips and moments that come from it are Monster Hunter. I have a feeling, though, with this end-of-year highlights, even though there are going to be still a lot of Monster Hunter clips, there's going to be an equal amount, or even greater, of certain games I played this year. Blasphemous 2, Lies of P, Ultra Kill, all of that and more, and I am extremely happy I was able to accomplish that, and ultimately clear away from Monster Hunter, take a break essentially, all of that and more. Now of course, not everything in the year went as planned. In fact, like 2022, some shit happened no less right off the bat with 23 in terms of my mic breaking and having to get a new one, and then the whole fiasco that was my Switch breaking down and thus making me believe that it was dead completely, which happened right as soon as I was trying to prepare for the Title Update 4 live stream, so I had to cancel not only that, but all plans I had with the Switch, which included, of course, Sunbreak, but also things like the Hades Countdown, which I really wanted to get that video out sooner. I want to get it out in the first half of the year, so that sucked. that was something that really sucked, and it's a shame that it happened that early. But other than that, there's not really any downsides I can think of to 2023. Again, I'm of course disappointed I wasn't able to do many editorials throughout the year. There were certain projects I promised, or alluded to, like with the design of certain monsters, which never came out, even though I fully scripted the video. It's done. It's just something I haven't gone to voice recording or anything like that. And I think that's a good segue into 2024, my plans for the year, and a little discretion with projects of mine, especially with something like the Sunbreak Royal Autopsy and tier list, because it's been a good 5 to 6 months since I announced in the Sunbreak finale video that I would be working on the Sunbreak review, and yet, in all that time, in the months since then, I have given barely any announcement, any sign of progress on the video. I've not made many posts, nothing like that, so some people might very well be wondering, where the hell is this video? What's taking so long? Why are you being so slow? Are you even planning on doing the video? Are you just gonna announce another video and then forget about it? And suffice to say, no, I am not planning on abandoning this project. I just figured I might as well explain the thought process, as well as schedule and what's going on, because it is something I do think about. And it just comes down to the fact that, at the end of the day, I am only one person. Whereas other YouTubers have whole teams and editors to schedule, make videos, plan it out, all that and more to ensure that they release on a daily basis, I don't have that luxury. It's just me. It's just me making, scripting, voice recording, editing, scheduling, the live streams, the posts, all of that and more. And it's a lot for one person, and which doesn't help that I am a slow person, admittedly. I can be very slow when it comes to making videos, comprising edits, and some days I just won't have motivation or energy to work on a video. Other days, I may only work like a few hours. And when it comes to projects like this, when it comes to handling videos, oftentimes when I'm working on a project, that is the sole project I am working on for a while. So a big editorial video that can take weeks or perhaps even months between scripting, recording, editing, getting all the footage I need, scheduling, all that and more. That will be oftentimes the sole video I am working on. When I'm working on a project, I have to abandon everything else. Everything else has to be delayed. I can't work on anything else unless it's like something super small or minor that I can afford to multitask on, or abandon the big project for a slight moment to work on the smaller one. So, with me working on something like the 2023 highlights, I can't exactly work on the Sunbreak review, much less tier list as well at the same time. I can't do that. I can't work on other countdowns or videos because this is the main thing I'm dedicating my time towards. This is the big thing I'm having to do. So yes, I do sincerely apologize that some videos take a long while to produce. I apologize that I can't get videos out quicker, but that's just how it is for me. And I think that's important to realize, and something I need to digress, because in this day and age and culture with this kind of parasocial relationship, it can be hard to realize for some audience members that the content creators they watch, the YouTubers who put out these videos, are still people at the end of the day with their own lives and schedules to attend to. So even if I'm not getting harassment, even if I'm not getting comments, it's something I feel that's very important to note and put forward in the future, just in case if it ever gets mentioned. That said, I will do my best to get the Sunbreak review and tier list out as soon as possible within a comfortable amount of time that is manageable to me, so I'm not rushing it and trying to get it out before a deadline. Because the good thing about 2024, one of the best things I think going forward, is that there is no Monster Hunter game. There is no major release coming out this year that I need to worry about with Monster Hunter, because Wilds has been slated for 2025. So, without a major Monster Hunter game to look forward to releasing this year, I can relax a little bit and think about the other games that I want to play, the other games I want to stream or make videos on, and I've got some ideas cooking. And I think this will be a good year for expanding my channel outside of Monster Hunter. I want to make editorials and videos. I want to make a countdown on Wild Hearts. I want to make videos on Ultra Kill. I want to make a countdown on Blasphemous 2. That's not to say I'm going to abandon Monster Hunter entirely this year. I'm still, of course, going to make Monster Hunter videos. But, like, I can afford to put it on the back burner, essentially, while I can focus on cooking everything else that I want to, that I have a bigger interest in. And that is my hope for 2024. I'm not going to go about making any plans right away or saying for sure, oh, look out for this video coming out this year. The only things I can concretely say is coming out this year is the 2023 highlights, which I expect to be out this month, sometime in January, and then the tier list for Sunbreak, which will be a live stream over here on YouTube, which I am probably going to make an announcement of that in my community tab or some kind of post before it all goes live. Try and make it in sync or close together with the Royal Autopsy, and then either before or after the tier list, depends on what I feel like, because the tier list and Royal Autopsy are inevitably going to bleed over in terms of what I talk about. Release the Royal Autopsy, release my big, grandiose review on Sunbreak as a follow-up to Monster Rise and that review. Those are the 3 things I can promise are coming out this year. Everything else, I am not confirming right this second. I am not setting a release date or estimated time for release, so don't expect to hear any announcements on big projects or highlights until I know for sure I am working on it, and I can expect it to be done or finished in a moderate amount of time. And of course, considering that I don't update all too often on YouTube in the community tab, if you want to have more frequent updates from me, please, I encourage you to check out my Twitter, my Bluesky, because I have one of those, or alternatively even join the Discord, because there are a ton of people there who chat, who talk about things like Monster Hunter, Soulsborne, Metroidvanias, all that and more, and I make the occasional post or announcement there saying that I'm going live with a live stream, that I'm making a video, all of that and more. And also, I'll say that when it comes to live streaming, I am not going to be doing anything until the 2023 highlights are done. So don't expect any videos outside of this one, and don't expect any live streams until I am done with the 2023 highlights. But yeah, that'll be all for this video, since it is already 35 minutes into the recording and I don't want to ramble any further. Thank you all for joining me in this video, for watching it, for supporting the channel. I appreciate it, even in these periods of inactivity. It really does mean a lot. Every little bit helps. And as always, I have been the Monarch of Dragons, and I hope you all have a fantastic day / night wherever you live. Peace and Kulus Volts.